am going to teach you how to do vibrato on the native flute. A lot of people have been asking me how to do the wavy sound that I've been doing on the native flute, and that is called vibrato. So in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to produce that sound. Now this is a little bit more of an advanced technique, and I would highly suggest that you learn how to make a good sound on the instrument and be a little bit more comfortable playing before doing this, because you need the fundamentals while you're learning a new instrument before going to something more advanced like vibrato. So I have a playlist here for you on YouTube called Learn How to Play the Native Flute. I would highly suggest watching videos 1 and 2, which are learning how to sound good on the native flute, and number 2 is learn how to play the native flute. It's going to basically walk you over how to produce a good sound, how to breathe correctly, and how to play all the notes correctly. And then once you feel very comfortable on those videos, come back to this one. Now, if you're coming to this video and you're not quite sure, you're like, I've done those other 2 videos, I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for vibrato, make sure that you feel comfortable creating a nice steady stream of air while you're playing, and also make sure that you just know by heart how to play all the different notes on this instrument. If you said yes to all those, then let's learn how to do vibrato together. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you of the discount code that I have for you at High Spirits. If you use my code Gina, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Now, the instrument I will be demonstrating on today, which I usually demonstrate on just because it's a very good flute to use for beginners, is the Sparrowhawk and Aromatic Cedar in the key of A. So I would recommend the key of A to all beginners. And of course, this instrument is by High Spirits, and I have either this one or something very similar linked in the description below. Okay, let's get started. Let me start out by playing a note with vibrato and a note without vibrato so that you can hear the difference. So this is with vibrato, and this is without vibrato. What's interesting about vibrato is that it can vary a lot. You can have a fast vibrato, a slow vibrato, narrow or wide vibrato. There are a lot of different combinations that you can use to create the overall mood that you're trying to create with the music that you're playing once you feel more comfortable using vibrato. So let's talk about how you produce vibrato. First, you should have a nice steady airstream that should sound like this. In order to produce vibrato, what you're going to do is you go ha 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 while you're putting air through the instrument. So you keep that air stream going, but you go ha 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 while you're putting the air through it. So it should sound like this. And depending on how much you do it, the more extreme it's going to sound. So it could sound really extreme like this. Probably not what you're going for. Or it could sound very minimal like this. Like I said before, you can have varying speeds as well as depths of vibrato, and we're going to learn how to do that next. Think of a normal sound wave if you were just doing a straight note that sounded like this. So the sound wave would look like this, very nice and straight across. Now, if you had a wide vibrato, you would picture it to look like this, nice and wide. And then if it was narrow, it would be a lot closer to the middle, like that. And again, you can have varying speeds. So let's say we have a wide vibrato that is slow. So you would have a wide, slow vibrato like this. You could have a wide, fast vibrato, which would look like this. Then you could have a narrow, slow vibrato, which would look like this. And then you could have a narrow, fast vibrato, which would look like this. Personally, I think it helps to have a visual concept of what the vibrato is going to look like while you're learning how to use it. So as you can see, there are a lot of different options that you can use while playing vibrato. Let's start with our first vibrato exercise. For this exercise, you're going to need a metronome. You can use either a physical one or an app on your phone. I will have an app linked in the description below. But what you're going to want to do is set it to about 60 beats per minute, and then you're going to play along with the beat. While doing this exercise, choose one note to do the vibrato on. It doesn't matter which one. So again, this is 60 beats per minute. Make sure that while you're playing with the metronome that you are nice and even and exactly with the metronome. That is what is going to make your vibrato even, which is of course what we are going for. Once you feel comfortable at 60 beats per minute, you can increase it by 5 clicks. So you would go from 60 to 65. Once you feel comfortable with 65, increase it by 5 to 70, and so on and so forth. I am now going to play vibrato with the metronome equaling 100 so that you can hear what that sounds like. Just a reminder, don't skip from 60 to 100. You want to build this slowly in increments of 5 so that your vibrato is nice and even, but that is what it should sound like once you hit about 100 BPM. Once you're able to play vibrato evenly at a faster tempo, you can reduce the speed back down to 60, and instead of doing one vibrato, if you will, one vibrato per beat, you can do 2. So this is at 60 BPM, and I'm doing 2 vibrato per beat. And then, of course, you're going to do the exact same thing and build your tempo by 5. And again, what we're going for is a nice, even vibrato. And by doing this, sometimes you are going to use a slow vibrato, sometimes you're going to use a fast vibrato, so it's nice to be able to have that flexibility, and the metronome is a perfect tool to help you learn how to do just that. Earlier in this video, we talked about having different depths and speeds of our vibrato. I call this exercise the bouncy ball. I want you to imagine that you are on a high point and you're throwing a ball out, and the ball is going to start off very wide and slow, and then as it goes down, it's not going to be quite as high anymore, and it's going to start going like this and get faster and narrower. And that's what we're going to try to do with our vibrato while playing. Again, at the beginning, we're going to have very wide and slow bounces, and then by the end, it should be very fast and narrow. By becoming comfortable with this exercise, it will allow you to change the style of your vibrato quickly. This is what it should sound like. Now let's try it together. And those are the 2 exercises that I would recommend when starting with vibrato. Again, you want to be able to have the flexibility as well as the evenness of your vibrato, and that is going to allow you to play a very wide variety of different types of music. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and also if you have any suggestions for future videos about the native flute. Thank you so much to High Spirits Flutes for making this series possible. Make sure that you subscribe to me here on YouTube for future native flute videos, as well as find me on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you next time.